McClendon.org.
Hello everybody, Sir Walter of the Sir Walter Jones Show. I want to do this video. It's very important and very vital to me to do this because, I was on Facebook today and I was looking at a post that was quite disturbing. It's a video of our dear sister Lisa McClendon. She's an artist, recording artist who ousted her husband's infidelity on the internet through Periscope at first, and then it got placed on YouTube, and then she eventually had it taken down. And I was going back and forth with some of my friends on Facebook about this thing, and I began to notice a disturbing trend. Right, I'm not too long just getting in the house. It's about almost 3 o'clock in the morning right now. I did my radio show today, and then I did a rehearsal, and then I'm really tired, and I got a cold coming on, so I shouldn't be up. But I couldn't sleep because I need to address my audience, okay, about this situation. My heart goes out to Lisa because she's a woman that's been hurt. And she responded in the usual way that a person who didn't really think things out, okay, she responded in that way, a person who has been scorned. So I'm going to be very sensitive to her and many of you women out there who had to face this situation of a man who cheats on you. I want to say something about the Christians who look at the internet, look at social media, and you try to judge a matter. You guys are horrible at that. You're absolutely dangerous at trying to be the jurors and judges of a matter, especially when it comes to relationships. Everybody wants to play Cupid, okay, at the beginning, and then y'all want to play the divorce judge and mediator and counselor, and y'all are absolutely horrible at it. And this was the big mistake I think that our dear sister Lisa made, is that she put the video out there trying to really get people, because they said about misery loves company. She was miserable and she needed the attention, but she was upset. And I have done these same things when I was upset and didn't think first. I reacted, but I didn't respond properly. So she made a video in response to that video, and she apologized. And I looked at all of the responses on her Periscope of the women who was like, girl, you don't need to apologize. You did the right thing, and on and on. And I said to myself, Christians, what's wrong with us? I want to talk to the predator and the prey, okay? Because I was on both sides, and I need y'all to hear this story of mine. When I was coming up as a young teenager, a preteen, I was about 15 or 16, and I was smelling myself, and I was looking at girls, and the girls wouldn't give me a time of day. I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. All my brothers had girlfriends. I didn't have any. I didn't have a talent. I didn't have a gift. I just figured, I played in the sandbox. I was a nerd. And I remember finally going into high school in my freshman year, I started getting actually a notice by a young lady who, found interest in me, and we found ourselves in the hallway kissing. Now, me smelling myself, and at that time I had already had one of those wet dreams, so I knew what it felt to have a nocturnal, and so I wanted to feel that again, but I wanted to experience what I heard about from my brothers and from watching TV and all this stuff. I wanted to experience that as well. And this young lady at the time, she took me into the auditorium, and she had her way with me. And I was like, wow, this is actually happening. I actually know how it feels to be inside of a woman. Of course, she was a girl at the time, and I was a boy. And when we were done, we put our clothes back on, and she went out the door, and I went out another, thinking, wow, I'm going to get a chance to see her again. And I came to school the next day, I didn't see her. Came to school the next day, I didn't see her. Came to school the next day, didn't see her all week, didn't see her the following. I never saw her again. Virginity, gone like that in an instant. But what that did, though, it woke my body up to be promiscuous. I desired sex. So I was still kind of shy and nerdy, so no woman, no girls was giving me any attention. So I figured, well, I guess I'm gonna just feel that one experience and just wait till the next one come by. And then another one did. I was interested in another one, and she gave me the time of day. And I remember not wanting, I couldn't wait for school to be over because we would find our way to the lockers and we would kiss by the book lockers. And I would try to feel on her, and she would pull my hands away, saying, "You can't touch that area." But she would kiss me and tongue me and all these things, you know. I was like, I know what sex feels like now. Come on, can we? And she would deny me day after day after day after day. And before you knew it, it was time for summer break. And we went our separate ways. And all summer long, I didn't hear from her. Came back in September for school for the fall season. And there she was. I saw her outside. But yet, she wasn't the skinny little girl that I saw during the school months. She had a big belly. The girl was looked like she was about 7 months pregnant. And it tore me up inside because I'm saying to myself, I begged her for it, but she'd give it to some other guy over the summer. I was really distraught about that. And then I finally fell in love with a woman, okay, with a young lady in my church at the time. And I know for a fact that I've never loved a woman like that ever before. It was this feeling that I can't explain. There was no sex ever. We kissed, but there was nothing because I wasn't really thinking about sex. And that's when I knew it was love. I just wanted to be near her. I loved the way she chewed food and gum. I loved the way she walked. I loved the way she talked. I loved the way she combed her hair. Everything about her. And then she ended that relationship, and I was devastated. And at the first time in my life, I thought about committing suicide. That's how devastating it was. And it was almost like I wanted to get revenge on all women. Something spiritual happened to me where I became very promiscuous, and I wanted a woman after woman after woman. And then fast forward many years, and there I was. There was the guy who's known for being the womanizer. But nobody, those who knew, I'm talking about those in church, both male and female, nobody pulled me to the side and say, "Lil Jones, little boy, let me help you heal. Apparently there's something going on. What happened to you?" No one asked, have I ever been raped or molested? Because boys are taken advantage of as well from women. Just like women are from men. Just like little girls are from father figures, uncle figures. So no one stopped me in my tracks. And I just continued to go that route year after year after year because of my experiences as a child, as a teenager. And I'm saying all this to say that I'm looking at all of the comments under this video of Lisa McClendon, and I'm seeing the battle of the sexes between male and female. Notice this, all of the women, not all of them, many of the women were saying, "Go ahead, girl, Lisa. You doing the right thing. You need to oust that fool and that nigger and that dog." I mean, these were the terms that I was reading from Christians. The men, on the other hand, though, they were a little more understanding. They were a little more sensitive. They were saying, wait to hear his side of the story. It's just amazing how this works, which tells me, again, that the sisterhood is broken. We already know the brotherhood is broken, but the sisterhood is broken. And I'm going to tell you something. When you try to oust someone, you have to be careful, because I look at rape victims. The more they talk, the more they dig themselves in a hole. And it is a shame that our society, what we do, we punish or penalize victims. America is good at that. All right? So a good lawyer in a courtroom would be defending the rapist by what the rape victim says that can incriminate her. For instance, Lisa was on the video talking about, I was married when my present husband was hitting on me. You fast forward, she wound up marrying the very guy who was hitting on a married woman. And all of y'all made those comments, not all of you, many of you didn't want to mention that because you were trying to escape that part because you were trying to support what Lisa was saying, okay? And so you gotta be really careful. The more you talk, the more you dig yourself in holes when you're trying to expose someone with malice and vengeance, because vengeance really is not yours. I appreciate Lisa for taking the video down and making an apology video in Periscope. Y'all hated it, but I loved it because I saw the sincerity in her heart. So I'm using this video as a way of helping y'all and use it as a teaching lesson for many of you who don't understand what just happened. The victim, we get that. But what about the man who did the cheating? Do you not realize you never ask a man or sit him down and find out what happened to you when you were younger? Who did this to you? Or what happened spiritually in your life that caused you to need more than one woman? Oh man, we about to go here. I have come to the conclusion that what Christians have become is they need to be looking at how the world handles situations that are similar like this. They have what's called interventions. When a family member or a close friend is doing something, maybe it's in drug or they have some type of addiction, they don't expose it to the world. They have a private interventions with people who they love and trust, and they try to get this person help, and then they try to heal and restore. Christians don't do that. We don't know how, and we're expecting the world to come to us for counseling and for hope, but they can't because they looked at the Facebook and the Periscope and the YouTube comments and says, these are Christians doing this? And this is why I can understand Gandhi say, I would be a Christian except it were for those Christians. I remember reading in 2 Samuel chapter 6, around verse 6 or 7, a man by the name of Uzzah, okay? Y'all say Uzzah, but it's Uzzah, who, when the Ark of the Covenant was getting ready to tip over, because they were unlawfully carrying that thing on the cart, it began to tip over, and he reached over to grab the ark, and God smote him. God killed him. And every time I would read that story, I said to myself, what kind of God am I serving? How insensitive. He was trying to save the ark from falling over. Why would he kill that man? And then but when I began to look into the legality of things and the obedience on how God wants you to be obedient, then I began to really realize that story. You see, when Lisa began to pause in her video and cry and get angry and righteous indignation stirred up in her, the audience was moved as well. And we Christians are very sensitive to others who are sensitive, who are crying, and we rock the baby to sleep. It doesn't matter what they're saying, okay? It doesn't matter the situation. That's why shows like Empire and the Olivia Pope saga with the president, okay, scandal, okay? That's why we celebrate the villains in these sitcoms and these movies, because they use a human emotion and sensationalism to get us going. Tears, okay? I'm not saying Lisa's tears were phony. They were absolutely real, and I felt all of her pain. But what happens is God specifically gave them a law and told them, don't do this. And now you're trying to do something that's right, but your good is evil spoken of. So the tipping over of the ark, he should have let it fall and don't touch it. You're trying to do the right thing, but unfortunately, you're still breaking the laws. And that's what happened here, and many of the women jumped in. Let me tell you something. I talked to too many women who are covering their sister. The sister comes in and says, hey, sis, you know, I'm in love with this married man, and we've been hooking up at the hotel or whatever. And y'all are like, okay, I ain't gonna say nothing, girl. Girl, you get yours, you get yours. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, then when something like this happened, then y'all like, that dirty dog. That's why I say it's broke. It's just amazing how there's an old saying, the enemy of mine enemy is my friend. You know, because the sisterhood, all y'all came together to go against this man who was accused of infidelity. Prior to that, y'all was divided. This is a system that needs to be broken. I remember on social media, I too was ousted. I was in what I thought was a safe relationship with someone who I was really trying to help. And on Facebook, this woman put my name out there and began to talk about things that really was private amongst the two of us. There was no sex or nothing like that, but still the matter was a private matter between the two of us. And when she put that on Facebook, I'm at church playing the piano, and somebody says, Walter, they text me, says, you need to check Facebook and do it now. And I did, and I was reading it, and I says, oh my God, what do I do? I says, now, if I go and try to defend myself, really, the woman is usually believed first before a man is. 90% of the time, she's believed no matter what the man says. Okay, so I didn't say nothing, and I'm reading the comments after this young lady's post. Now, we've made up since that time, but I'm reading the comments from the women, and they all are going in on me. I say, yeah, dog, you did the right thing, and see, these men get them out, these preachers and all these, I mean, they dogged out all of the preachers, okay, because of that one post. And I said to myself, I cannot believe this. I haven't even said a word yet. Until I couldn't take it no more, and I finally said something. I said, and y'all all believe this? And when they saw that I came on the wall, then they began to backtrack and pull back a little bit. Oh, okay, so tell us your story. I says, I ain't saying nothing. No. Because it's none of y'all's business what happened between. Now, she put that out there, but I'm not going to make it worse. You see, what God does is he will punish eventually, because I believe a man should be punished for his crime, because I was punished for my crimes. He punishes the perpetrator. He punishes the predator for what he or she does. But also what God does, he analyzes the person who was the recipient, who's the victim, and he looks at the victim to see, okay, how are you going to respond to this? How are you going to respond? And sometimes the victim response is worse than the initial transgression. And that's why we have to be careful how we try to save the world by ousting others. That was a private matter, and it should have been done in council. That's why Jesus was so perfectly, he perfectly laid out how you go to a person in private and they don't hear it, then you bring someone, and if they don't hear it, you see how it goes through a pecking order. Then you bring it to the body, the church, not the internet, because the internet is full of everybody, okay? And so there are proper channels to do this. And it is what it's done is it caused the world to look at this situation and say, I don't want to be no Christian if they acting like this. When I got in trouble with the church walked away from me. You know, they saw me, I was unsettled. I was trying my best to do right, but then the struggle was there. And the brothers of the church never pulled me to the side and said, brother, let me help you. Let me pray with you. I see there's a struggle. Not a one of them. And then they waited till I got silenced, okay? But then I got in deep trouble, and everybody walked away from me. all the brothers of the church and all the sisters of the church, they just walked away from me. And I wound up losing my car. I lost my house. I lost my job. I lost my bank accounts. Okay? I went straight from riches to rags because of an indiscretion that happened to me. All right? And out of all the people in that church, one man showed up at my house. Before I lost the house, he rang the bell, okay? And he came and sat at the dinner table with me. He just sat there like, almost like Job's 3 friends, okay? But he was much wiser. And he sat at the dinner table, and he didn't ask me what you do, why you do it, how did you do it, what you gonna do. No, he just sat there and talked to me like nothing happened, and he was there for strength for me, and he prayed with me at the table. He says, Walter, we're going to get through this together. I'll never forget that, man. And he got up and he embraced me, and he left. And that was more strength for me than anything that I could have thought of at that time. You see, I'm saying all this because who's going after Lisa's husband for strength, for help, for encouragement, for restoration, to get him some help? Because really, I know he's probably sitting back waiting he's trying to figure out damage control. That's usually what we do. If this indiscretion is true, he's going into damage control. But it's going to take the right person to sit down with him and says, I can help you through this. Trust me. And y'all are horrible at it. You who were saying, go ahead, girl, and high-fiving her, and you did the right thing. Something wrong with y'all because y'all have the same stuff wrong with you. I'm so glad that y'all are not like Christ. Y'all are not Christ or vice versa, meaning you don't have the power to judge me the way Christ can at this particular time. Because we can't judge people righteously, but we who are spirit, okay, because when you restore someone, notice the scripture says you do this in the spirit of meekness, but consider yourself, because you can also be tempted. But I look at Christ, who says, while we were yet in sin, he died for us. And look how God covered so many men in the Bible. Even King David, God covered him, his indiscretion. Said, I'm not going to snatch the kingdom from you, and I'm not going to kill you, and I'm not going to expose your dirt. I'm going to still punish you, but I'm going to do it in my way. What makes us bigger than God that we can do what we do? So I'm doing this to use this as a lesson to y'all. Say, ain't nobody gave you no power. The right to do what Lisa did. That should be a lesson to you. Now, brothers, you out there who are messing around on your woman, you're destroying not only her, but you're destroying yourself. You're not being honest with yourself. Get counseling. I went and got counseling, and it helped me tremendously because it helped me go back in time to find out what really happened to me that I forgot. There's some things that happened to me that I actually did forget. And we need to pray for the body of Christ because we're under attack. Our relationships are under attack. Satan do not want us together because one could chase 1,000. 2, that's 10,000, y'all. We put them to flight. My mom is the wisest woman that I know. I'll never forget when I was a child. I was a preteen, got in trouble at church. I was messing around with the little girls at the church. See, this has been going on a long time. All right? You see, I'll say that in a minute. But when it came time to pass out the whippings, all of the mothers came together to whip their children, the ones who were with me. All right? And one by one, they whipped each other in front of the other mothers. And my mom waited, and she whipped her child, she whipped her child, and the other one whipped her child, and my mama waited. And she says, okay, y'all done? It's like, your turn. Evelyn, she says, Walter, grab your coat, let's go. And I grabbed my coat, and we left. And when we got in the car, my mama said, see, they wanted a show. See, but this is not a show. I'm not going to use you as a way to entertain the troops. I'm going to beat you at home. Okay. She taught me a valuable lesson, and I learned something there. I'm a very private man because of that. You know, I was a very sneaky man as well. But I became very private, and I began, when people tell me stuff, I keep it on lock and key, and I'm going to my grave with things that people told me. I can out so many people now. I got secrets on people that I can really make their lives miserable. But that would be the worst thing that I could do. And God has never given me the right to do that. I don't care who they are, and I will never do it. So people know that, and they tell me stuff because they know I'm going to help them through it. I'm hoping that you are one of those people who can do that with others as well. I discovered a very interesting article about monogamous relationships. It wasn't between man and woman, but it's animal kingdom. Believe it or not, God have animals that he used. Hopefully we can look at these animals as a way of encouragement for you young ladies who think that all men are dogs. Not true. There's so many men out there that are faithful to their women, and they won't ever, ever go out on them. The swans are very faithful to each other. Yes. Octopods are very faithful to them. They're monogamous. Many of these animals are together for life. French angelfish. The bald eagles are monogamous. They're together for a long, long time. Barn owls, beavers. Beavers are together until one dies. He won't find another beaveress until she dies. Faithful. And believe it or not, the animal that's least expected, that God uses this animal here, and when usually it's used to refer to leaders in our churches who, or some saints who put on sheep clothing, but really what they are wolves. That's right. Wolves. Wolves are monogamous. And that alpha male, he finds that she-wolf, and they have babies every year, just a litter of them. And if you see a wolf by himself, it's because he's looking for one lover. Or she just died, or he's trying to find the pack. All right? So when y'all call cheating men wolves, that may not be the proper title to call them, because wolves are monogamous. They ain't cheating on you. I just thought I could educate you on that. All right? Good. I do want to say that men are looking for these type of women, okay? And I'm gonna help y'all out with this. So pay close attention, young ladies, because I think it's important that you know about men in a way that will help you understand why they do what they do. A married man is with you, and if he likes sex, and if he's a person who's been cheating for years, and then you marry him, he's going to continue. It's not like marriage is going to stop him cold in his tracks, because that's what y'all think that marriage does. Most women think that for some reason that he's going to stop. I got him now, and so he's going to settle, or I'm going to change him. And I'm sorry, that won't happen. Okay? Rarely does it do that unless the Lord step in. So what happens is he's married to you, and what he wants, though, if you ask him to draw up the perfect woman, he's going to draw up an A, B, and C woman. Okay? And who are these women? All right? Maybe I can focus on the A and the B. Well, the A woman that he goes out on you is the woman that's not really as attractive as you are. She's the plain Jane. All right? She lives by herself. She actually gives him money. But what she gives him the most, what he loves, is sex. She gives him the best sex he's ever had. He don't even kiss her because he don't find her attractive. All right? I'm helping y'all. Hope you're taking notes. So he comes over to the house, and he don't take her out. You won't find them at restaurants. He don't introduce her to his boys, because his boys is cheating as well. But he goes over to that house and he lays with her and he have the best sex he's ever had. He don't kiss her because he ain't in love with her. She ain't asking him to leave you. She don't really care about that because she's getting something out of it as well. She's getting companionship. That's girl A. Girl B, though, when he leaves your house, is a woman that's fine. She's drop dead gorgeous. She looks better than you, okay? And unlike girl A, girl B is getting his money. He's paying her car note. Sometimes he's paying her mortgage or rent, all right? She's fine, so he takes her out to the clubs. He takes her out to the social events. He introduces her to his boys who can keep secrets, okay? And he kisses her because he finds her absolutely gorgeous. Yes, she gives him sex, but it's not as good as sex as girl A is. And also, girl B wants him to leave you. And she's waiting patiently. And she keeps reminding him in bed when you're going to leave her. And he gives her a promise to hold her just a little longer. That's girl B. Okay? And then there's a C girl. Now this C is a mixture of B because this chick is absolutely crazy. She's the one that keys his car, busts the windows out of his car. She's the one that's texting and calling his phone. She's the one that's trying to oust him by trying to get to you, trying to get to the children, okay? And he's got this soul tie with her, and he's really trying to break it off with her, but it's hard because he's afraid, all right? But there's something that is magical with C. So there's A girl, there's B girl, and then there's C girl, and then there's the wife. You can be all of these girls, all of them. The A, the sex from the A, and the beauty, all right, and the appealing woman that he kisses from the B, because he stopped kissing you, all right? And the C, this magic that he's found in her that he just can't pull away. He was almost there, but something in the night caused him to go back to her for some reason. She had some type of spell on him, okay? A, B, and C, and then there's you. Once you find out that that's what that man is looking for, then you're able to handle him. You either stay with him and work through this, or you get up out of there, all right? Hopefully you do premeditative things, preventive things, and that's not even entertaining the first date with this dude. Most times you don't know. You just don't know. And Lisa McClendon says, I was fooled by this man. I just thought. And I felt her pain. I remember being with a woman after I've divorced, and I said, I'm done with women. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to just love on my children, try to help the people of God, and die. And I remember being with a woman, did not care for her other than being her friend. And I remember waking up on her couch with her attacking me and trying her best and trying to be as, trying not to tell everything, but I mean, before the night was over, there was sex, but it was forced sex. And for the first time in my life, it was a woman forcing sex. And I was telling her, no, 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 I don't want this kind of relationship, because my body had closed up. I hadn't had sex in a while. I was happy and content with being closed and just living for the Lord. And then she opened that thing back up, opened up that portal again. She poured something in me spiritually, like a seed was planted, and there I was back on the promiscuous train again. Y'all don't understand what men go through. Y'all think the women are the ones that suffer, but we suffer the same way, okay? I just, again, wanted to make this video for those of you who just don't understand what went on with the Lisa McClendon thing, because it's going on in possible hundreds or maybe thousands of homes out there. and it happens in the church quite a bit. Let's pray for her, all right? I have a bigger respect for her. I really do, especially after the second video. But I'm going to play this video here for those of you who got a good man at home. You got a good man, but you're on the beach and you notice that he's looking at a woman. But I want you to know something. He may look, but as soon as he turned his face and keep walking with you, he forgot what he just saw. It's like looking through the glass, as the scriptures say, and forgetting what you even look like. Yeah, let the white man tell you, okay? He'll tell you. All right, y'all? And there's an attack on men, and I'll do another video on that. And a lot of you women are going to be like, I don't want to hear it. That's what your problem is. So, Walter Jones, Show.
The London newspaper, the Daily Mail, listed the top 10 problems experienced by couples on vacation together. And topping the list was the man looking at other women in bikinis on the beach. Now, in another Prager University course, I explained the sexual power of the visual on men. And as I show, and as anyone readily understands, unless they've been misled by a politically correct college course, the power of the visual to excite men has no analog in women. Women don't get excited by virtually every male body at the beach. Male legs don't turn them on like female legs turn men on, etc., etc. It takes massive willpower, in fact, for a heterosexual man not to look at bikini-clad women. And few men, even the nicest, finest, and most monogamously faithful and loving, have such willpower. So the Daily Mail notes, this frequently causes problems when a couple's itinerary includes a visit to the beach. And what exactly is the problem? The problem is that the wife or girlfriend feels threatened by his looking. And why does she feel threatened? Because she thinks he is comparing her to those women. And why does this disturb her? Here are 3 reasons. First, virtually every woman, no matter how attractive, thinks that when her man is looking at other women in general, and in bikinis especially, he is finding them more attractive than her. Second, she thinks that he is therefore dissatisfied with her, which in turn arouses the unspoken but primal fear that he might leave her. And third, she is sure that her man will continue to think about these women long after they've disappeared from sight. So now let's analyze these reasons. First, does the husband or boyfriend find these women on the beach, or for that matter anywhere else, more attractive than he finds his wife or girlfriend? Well, since I believe that only honesty works in the long run, the answer is sometimes yes. He may very well find some of those women more physically attractive than his woman. But here's the point that most women, again, understandably don't know. With very few exceptions, it doesn't matter. You heard me right. Of course, when looking at these other women, he may find some of them more physically attractive than the woman he's with. But, and here's the good news, so what? Presuming he is attracted to you, and if he isn't, it doesn't matter if you're vacationing in a monastery and all he sees are monks. He wants you. I repeat, he wants you. And if he does, all those other women don't amount to a hill of beans. There's another thing women need to know. Within seconds of her disappearing from view, he has no memory of any of these women. When in sight, they can take over his male mind. But out of sight, they are out of mind. It's as if they never existed. Yes, the visual gets men's total attention in a matter of seconds. But as soon as the woman he was focused on vanishes, most men forget what they saw in an equal number of seconds. Why does this come as news, and hard to believe news at that, to most women? Because you, the woman, remember the women your man looked at, and you therefore think that he too remembers them. But let me assure you, he doesn't. Most men under torture couldn't identify the women they looked at the hour before, let alone the day before, if they were shown photos of them along with photos of women they had never seen. And more good news, his seeing women who he thinks for that moment are more attractive than you has no bearing whatsoever on his being quote-unquote dissatisfied with you. Men find other women attractive in large measure just because they are other women. Men are programmed by nature to want variety, indeed endless variety. That's why God-fearing King Solomon had 700 wives and another 300 concubines, and secular Hugh Hefner had at least that many lovers. In sum, then, when your man looks at these other, perhaps even more attractive women, he is A, not comparing you to them, B, not in any way becoming dissatisfied with you, and C, certainly not thinking of them later. He looks at them because they are other women, whether they are more attractive, just as attractive, or less attractive. They are women in bikinis, so he looks. Where there is basic domestic harmony and mutual physical attraction, more than anything, your husband wants you. When he looks, he isn't comparing, he isn't getting dissatisfied, and he won't have a clue later as to who he saw. So when you're back in your hotel room, put on your own bikini and tell him you want him. Because again, more than anyone else in the world, he wants you. And if you don't believe me, ask him. You'll be glad you did, and so will he. I'm Dennis Prager.